Whoa, 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 at the break of the rising dawn, as the night's last shadows are gone, a spark ignites across the sky. Truth comes rolling in high. Hear the drum of the unheard. Feel the power of the word. We rise from dark to light, cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise, justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight. This is dawn and justice, let's rise. Across the wire, through the storm, we won't conform, we won't be warned. Every voice, every sign, we draw the waking line. Screens light up, the message clear. No more running, no more fear. From the ashes, from the night, we carry forward burning light. Dark to light, night to dawn. Truth lives on. We press on. We rise from dark to light, cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise, justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight, we stand together in the light. This is dawning justice, let's rise. This is dawning justice, let's rise.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dawning Justice, and I am Josh the Justice Cometh, and this is your morning news wrap-up show with some digs and some drops. So everybody welcome in. Thank you so much for being patient with me this morning. We didn't get until late last night from graduation. We were hanging out with family, and I was exhausted coming home. I actually had Tracy drive home last night. I was like, babe, I got to get some stuff on X put together for the show. And I'm glad I did, because when I got home, I was so tired and I just zonked out and I forgot to plug up my phone and my alarm didn't go off. And I woke up and I saw the sunlight and I was like, uh-oh. So thank you everyone for still joining me even when I'm late this morning, but I believe I've got a pretty good show set up for you this morning. I took a little bit of time to try to pull some good video clips. We've got a lot of good things to go over. We've got a lot of shocking things to go over too that's happened in the news cycle yesterday. So I was kind of catching up on everything too myself this morning, because we were just having all kinds of family time yesterday, and the chats are already on fire. I'm so glad that even though I was late, we've still got people rolling in. X is already going. Gosh, guys, hold on just one second. I haven't even got my pilled set up yet, so give me just 1 second here, guys. Man, oh man, a lot of news happening today. All right. Yeah, MS2 Patriots already checking in over there on Pilled said, "Good morning. We serve a mighty God." Yes, we do. Absolutely, we do. Uh, God gives us such a wonderful day every day, and I am so thankful to wake up every morning, even if it is late. I still love waking up every morning and doing this show for you guys and just spreading God's word every day. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, my Xers over there, thank you so much for joining me. If you're over on X Lane, give me that heart and give me that repost. Let's get some butts in the seats. Same thing with Rumble, guys. Hey, hold on a second. Let me adjust my hat here. My hat's all jacked up. Okay, here we go. Um, Guys, if you're in my Rumble chat rumbling, make sure you give me that thumbs up. Make sure you give me that repost. If you're one of my red pill poppers over there on pill.net, make sure you give me that red pill and also that repost. Facebook's already going, I see. I've got a couple of hearts going on over there, so make sure you share out my show. We don't do a whole lot of QD codes on this show. It's more of a news wrap up. So share it out to your family. Give them something different to watch other than just CNN and all that other junk out there. And we're also going over there on YouTube as well, so if you're on YouTube, share out my show and also give me that thumbs up over there. I very, very much appreciate that. And just also to let you guys know, we are viewer funded. So we appreciate any kind of Rumble rants that you want to give. If you're over on some of the other platforms and you do want to contribute to the show, just go to www.tracingjustice.com and click how to give. And I've got all our links set up there for you. So it's really, really easy to do that. And let's see, what else have we got going on? Guys, let me just show you our t-shirts real quick. I know my regulars have already seen them, but maybe somebody hasn't seen them yet. And guys, truthermedia.com, just click on the shop and we've got all kinds of stuff going on. We've got our Defend the Truth shirt. America deserves it. And also for my ladies watching. And what's so funny is when I started podcasting, I started looking at my demographics and everything of male versus female. Did you know that 70% of my viewers are women? I found that shocking. That's awesome, guys. I thank you so much for that. So in saying that, Tracy has developed this shirt right here. Look at that. Defend the Truth, Truther Media. And on the back of it, it's got our Truther Media logo on it. It says America deserves the truth. Hey, Sun Minnow, thank you for checking in with me. She said, "I am so glad your alarm failed so I can see you this morning. Last night was fire." And just so you guys know, I don't know if you know this or not, Tracing Justice was a replay last night with Stav Connects, where we went through Ingersoll Lockwood again. Hold on just one second. Let me turn my heat off. I'm about to burn up. It was replay last night, but it was one of our best shows, especially like the last hour of it. So if you didn't get to catch it, go back on my Rumble feed, go back on my YouTube feed, whatever, X feed, and find that episode. It is 3 hours. But watch it, guys. It is so amazing. It's like all the research we had done up, Ingersoll Lockwood Dig #1, where they come in our chat, dropped us some coordinates for us to check out, and then we followed right back up on it and proved it all right in the Ingersoll Lockwood Dig #2 with Stav Connect. So where he brought a bunch of information to the table for us to connect those dots. So it was truly, truly amazing. So real quick though, right back to the store. Ladies, this hat right here has got a ponytail opening in the back. I have yet to see that in our movement. I see them out there, the normal normie hats and stuff like that, but this is our Truther Media hat. And look, you can put your ponytail through it, and it's hidden. If you don't want to wear a ponytail, you just close it up, and you just go about like it's a regular hat. So check that out. And also for America's 250, we've got our America's 250 shirt. Says, "God bless America. The spirit lives on." Truther Media, Washington, D.C., 1776 through 2026. So we are very, very excited with all the new offerings in our Truther Media store. And you can find that again at www.truthermedia.com and click on that little green button that says shop. So we're very, very, very proud of that. All right. So what I want to do first is I want to go ahead and let's get with Mike real quick from Hunter's Blend Coffee. You know, you can find Hunter's Blend by going to www.dawningcoffee.com, and it's also in the show description right there. And use my promo code Tracing Justice, all one word, for 10% off of your first order. Let's see what Mike has to say this morning. You know, he just put out a new video last night, so we love Mike and the guys over there at Hunter's Blend Coffee.
Well, did you know that the Federal Reserve is neither federal nor do they have a reserve? It's actually just a private bank. And their reserve is just the ability to tell the Treasury just to print more money. But I'm sure their name being so deceptive is just a coincidence. Did you know that all the bankers that were opposed to the formation of the Federal Reserve all happened to be on the Titanic? I'm sure that was a coincidence. Did you know that the Federal Reserve Act was passed late on Christmas Eve when most of the men had gone home? I'm sure that was a coincidence. Did you know long before the Federal Reserve existed, there was another central bank, and Andrew Jackson put an end to that? And they tried to assassinate him, but I'm sure that was a coincidence too. If you start to look into our money supply, I'd suggest the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's a great book that will talk about all these things that you have questions about, like why does inflation even exist? Why does a house that many years ago was $50,000 is now $500,000? I mean, it takes the same amount of materials to build the house as it ever did. And with the advancement of technology, there's a lot less labor. It should be cheaper, but it's gone up exponentially. I wonder why that is. Well, when the government continues to print money, it's like adding water to the soup. You got a pot of soup on the table, one ladle full will fill a bowl. You got 6 people coming over, everybody gets a bowl, everybody goes home full. A couple friends come over, the old saying, oh, throw some water in the soup. That's fine for one meal. But when this continues to happen over time, now you've got 12, you got 24 people. All of a sudden, people are eating a bowl of soup saying, I'm hungry in a half an hour. I need 2, 3, 4 bowls of soup. They're not eating more. It just takes 4 bowls of soup now to give them the same nourishment that 1 bowl of soup used to give. And that's inflation. But we're told that inflation is just a normal amount, a normal part of finance and etc. But it's really fundamentally the government continuing to print money. Have you ever thought about, well, where does all these billions of dollars come for these corrupt NGOs and like USAID or all this fraud that they're finding in Minnesota and all these other places? Where does all that money come from? Well, when you can print at your heart's desire, that'll give you a secret. That'll give you an insight to the secret. So The Creature from Jekyll Island. Now they recommend, and I agree, at the back end of each chapter, there's a synopsis of each chapter. This is a thick book, a lot of heavy reading. Go through the book first by reading the synopsis at the end of each chapter. And then once you get through, if you want to, you can go back through and chew through the whole book as well. But if you read the synopsis, it'll give you a great overview. The truth will set you free. Welcome to the Great Awakening.
Thank you, Mike. That was awesome. So, guys, do you want to give your coffee money to Mike and help out the show here this morning? Or do you want to just keep giving your money to Walmart and Target and all those other places? I mean, it's your choice, but Mike's dialed into this movement. So, again, guys, Mike offers so many different blends, and he offers whole beans. He offers, ground up. He even offers pods, guys, and he offers the original roast, black powder, Java rum. If you like a little bit of flavor without creamer in it, that Java rum is awesome. And if you want a light thing to wake up to, that's Tracy's favorite, is the Dawn's Early Light. And you can also order a sample pack, or you can just order one flavor of them all. So if you're just checking out Hunter's Blend coffee, just order that sample pack right there. Tracy liked them all, but she does like the Dawn's early light the best. And guys, do you remember that mug that he was holding up? They sell it too. The Great Awakening. I mean, what is better than drinking coffee from a mug that says the Great Awakening? And that shirt, guys, that shirt is fire too. And it is one of the softest shirts. I run a store. I run a t-shirt store, okay? And this t-shirt right here by Mike is the softest thing I've ever worn in my life. So guys, check them out, www.dawningcoffee.com, and use my promo code TracingJustice, all one word, to get 10% off of your first order. All right, guys. So let's shift our focus a little bit to the Lord. I cycle through some of our Truth or Media team, reading their devotionals that they put up because they're so excellent. And one of the hardest things that I have to do in the mornings, it's not pulling the news. It's not getting on X and seeing what's relevant. It's trying to pick between these devotionals that Truth or Media puts out every single day. So let's hop into our very first devotional for today. And this is the one that I picked, and Seth posted this yesterday. The world is full of opinions, but God is full of wisdom. Culture tells us what truth is. Social media tells who to become. People constantly tell us how life should work. But what happens when all of those voices contradict each other? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 9:10. Real wisdom doesn't begin with us, it begins with God. Think about it. You wouldn't build a house without blueprints. You wouldn't assemble an airplane without instructions, although some of you may try. Some of my guys out there. You wouldn't trust an untrained stranger to perform surgery. So why do so many people try to navigate life without listening to the one who created it? That's the real battle. Human pride wants truth on its own terms. Biblical wisdom says, God, teach me what is true, even if it confronts me. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And that's Proverbs 3:5. The truth is information is not the same thing as wisdom. The world has endless opinions, but only God sees perfectly. And guys, remember, God is truth. He is the only truth. And eventually every life gets tested by storms. The question is not whether the storms will come. The question is that your foundation is built on when they do. Whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And that's Matthew 7:24. Real wisdom starts when we stop trying to be our own God and finally trust the Creator instead. The world is full of opinions, but where does real wisdom actually come from? That is so true. And when we track our own shortcomings, we can always track it usually back to one thing. It's we didn't trust God with our issues and our problems. We tried to handle them on our own. We tried to use our own wisdom instead of God's wisdom. We don't pray for wisdom. You need to pray for wisdom. You need to pray for knowledge. You need to pray for everything because God is the one person that can give us everything that we need. All we need to do is just build up that relationship with Him every single day. And how do you do that? You do that through prayer, and you do that in the Word. Listening to His Word, reading the Word, whatever the case may be. That's how you build a relationship with the Lord. It's not just necessarily going to church all the time and stuff like that. That's important. If that's your thing, that's important. But the one most important thing is you praying to God and talking to God. You know, Tracy says that she when she prays, it's like a conversation. And it's something to behold when you can truly have a conversation with your Lord. Try it one day. It might be awkward at first. But see, Tracy said, Josh, I really never had a dad. But I do. And I talk to him every day. And he's my Lord. Great, great devotional, Seth. Thank you very much for that. All right, so let's go through the chats. Let's dig into the news and let's see what we got going on. So on X, we got Nabil checking in this morning. Good morning. And Jack and Dina Lee, good morning. Hey, Dina Lee, I am so glad that you got to join us this morning. I see you on my X feed sometimes. So thank you so much. Heat Force checking in, one of our Truther Media mods and Freedom Fire 1776 host of Signal Over Noise, and that will be at 8 p.m. tonight. So I very highly recommend that you check that out tonight. And let's see here. Canine Andrea, good morning. I hope your healing is going well. She is part of our Truther Media mod team, so thank you so much for checking in. Alanita0711, good morning. Happy Friday, she says. Yes, it's going to be guys, I have a feeling it's going to be such a great weekend. I really honestly do. I know this is corny. But the highlight of my week, trust me, I love coming and doing podcasts for you guys. I love it. But the one thing that I love the most is getting to spend time with my wife. And I get to truly do that on the weekends. I get to truly reconnect with Tracy because it gets so crazy over the week. We do 7 shows a week. She's got her Bible study. She's doing Truther Media stuff. I'm doing Truther Media stuff. I work full time. It's just so crazy through the week. And Saturdays and Sundays and Friday nights is my time to get to reconnect with her and the family. So that's what really matters. Listen, people, I know we're in this fight. I know we're in this movement, but you cannot forget about the ones that love you the most. That's why you do this. That's why you fight. Your children, your wife, your grandparents, your friends. Don't forget why you do this. Don't get so involved and sunk into all this stuff that you forget about them. Because, at the end of the day, it's what we're doing it. Because we love them. So let's get back into the chats. Sun Minnow, good morning. Sun Minnow says, I'm glad your alarm failed so I can see you this morning. Last night was fire. So yeah, I love that episode last night, and that's why we did the replay while I was at Noah's graduation yesterday. Kelly B, good morning, preacher. Seth checking in over there on X, good morning. And let's see here, who else we got? Mama Bear 73 coming in with the repost of the stream and says, good morning, coffee. Thank you so much. Spammy, are you up again already? This is 3 days in a row that I've seen you in my chat. Spammy is our Facebook manager for the Tracing Justice team. So she works hard all day because guys, listen, every time I post something, she gets an alert and she's like, oh, got to go put that on Facebook. And she transfers it over to Facebook. So she works really, really hard for Tracy and I every single day. And she's a Truther Media mod. While she's doing all that, she's watching our shows and helping us mod. So thank you so much for your hard work. Marnie, I appreciate that so much. And let's see who else we got checking in. Mile High Deplorable. Dude, I love your memes, dude. I love them. They're awesome. So every time you pop up in my feed, I'm like, repost. I love it. So thank you so much for that. Sarah O, good morning. And let's see here. Who else we got in? Gosh, my X chat is going off. Alexia, good morning. She says, good morning, guys. And let's see here. I think that's going to be it. So let's go on over to, let's see. Kelly B says, that's what happened to me, Josh. I spent 11 hours a day going to working 9 hours a day and coming home. Now everyone knows why I am not on at night. I get it, Kelly. I certainly get it, because at the end of the day, I have to cut off social media, and I literally have to unplug, or else I go crazy. All right, so let's go over to our YouTube chat. So Monica Rodriguez checking in saying happy Friday, and Wave Farm Studio is Yeet Force, so he is checking in over there. And let's see, Debbie checking in, Debbie 1064 checking in here too. Glenn Huggins, top of the morning to you, laddie, making it make sense. Good morning, Danny B 3929. Good morning. Make sure you hit that little 100% heart, whatever they do over there in YouTubeville. Give me a little love over there. I very, very much appreciate that. Let's see here. Pill chat. They're still kind of snoozing, even though it is, 9:27. So MS2 Patriot says, good morning, we serve a mighty God. I said that earlier, but thank you so much. And Kim Hall is checking in over there on Facebook saying, morning, watching on Rumble, but sharing here. So we got Kim Hall, Lana, and Tracy Anise checking in over there on Facebook. All right, here's the big one, guys. My Rumble chat is always, it used to be opposite. I started on X before I went to Rumble. And it's like everybody has kind of almost migrated over to Rumble. Guys, you watch wherever you want to watch. That's why I do it. But I'm going to tell you what, if you want to get into the conversation, it's either X or it's Rumble. YouTube's picking up. I see it. YouTube is picking up. So thank you guys so much for that. So let's go through. Nana2112 checking in first. And she said, I'm lurking on our way to the vet. Check out those mush puppies. I'm sure your pets will love it. So Debbie V57 says, much love, Josh. P. Jaber, good morning. God bless. Intense 15, good morning. Tammy for real. Cardius Maximus, one of our Truther Media podcasters, checking in, and he is co-host of Signal Over Noise. Remember, 8 p.m. tonight. Don't miss it. And let's see, Yeet Force checking in over there as well. Abby Blue Eyes checking in saying, sup, peeps? So thank you so much for checking out our show. And let's see here. Who else we got checking in here? I'm having to scroll through it because you guys are on fire. Kanon Andrea also double dipping over there on Rumble. Thank you so much helping us mod over there and making you guys feel welcome in. Mary calling up. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. I'm going to have to make that shirt. Good morning, y'all, and just kind of wear it, in the mornings. I don't know about that. But anyways, let's see here. Who else we got checking in here? My gosh, I'm having to scroll through here. USAID. Listen, you have to spell it out. It does not sound right. USAID paid does not sound right. It's USAID paid. So welcome in. He is part of our Truther Media mod team. Patriotic Lupa checking in saying, we're trying to enlighten those liberal ladies. Tough group, though. Yeah. They're some of the toughest nuts to crack over there. So I definitely agree. Garth97 says, good morning. Good morning. Julie Donuts checking in. Good morning, Patriots. So awesome. I don't know if Julie's doing any kind of guest appearances tonight. You can kind of let everybody know in the Rumble chat where to find you tonight. Let's see here. Who else we got here? Steph Sims, RNG Fab 60. Good morning and welcome in. And wow, guys, y'all are chatting away. Carrie Girl 74. Good morning. Good morning. And I think I'm all caught up. Listen, if I missed you, American GG, I see you in there. So thank you so much for coming in. And Glenn's even checking in over there on Facebook. It's like y'all are bouncing all over the place. So I very much appreciate it. Guys, are you ready for some news? I'm ready to get into some news. Let's see what we got first up on the docket here. Let me get to my stuff here. Yeah, we got some John Solomon news up. Just the News reports a federal judge cleared the way for President Donald Trump to implement his executive order tightening mail-in voting. John Solomon on a major election integrity ruling handed down by the U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols. And let's watch this clip. Let's see what old Solomon has to say.
Election integrity is front and center in Washington, D.C., where today at 6 a.m., in fact, I wrote the story at 6 a.m., a federal judge cleared the way for President Donald Trump to implement his executive order tightening mail-in voting and also slapping down Democrats' arguments that the government doesn't have a right to police voter rolls with citizenship checks. The U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols, now he's a Trump-appointed jurist, but he's also the guy that sent Steve Bannon to prison, so keep that in mind. He ruled that Democrats failed to show they have standing to challenge this rule, that there would be any imminent harm presented by the president's executive order. And so he turned down the preliminary injunction. But more importantly, he went line by line through the Democrats' arguments. This is a new Jim Crow 2.0 argument. The Democrats have been saying this presidential order will stop people from voting. And he basically rejected the notion that this order would disenfranchise millions of voters. Line by line, he went through. The Democrats say this, but here's what the law says, and I don't think you're going to prevail. By doing so, he may have sped up the process by which this can be appealed and get all the way to the Supreme Court. There is a possibility that the United States Supreme Court could potentially weigh on this in the summer, meaning that the executive order could be affirmed or rejected before the 2026 elections. I want to point out one of the things that the judge laid into, because it's an argument I've heard a lot of Democrats say, I've seen them in the clips, Amanda sometimes plays them on the show, that somehow the government possessing your voter information and the state possessing your voter information, and the federal government then transmits that to the state who already has it to say, hey, this person may not be a citizen legal to vote, that somehow that was a violation of your privacy. And the judge said, you know what, if the state already has it, and the federal government has it, and they're just transmitting information to make sure that someone doesn't illegally vote, I don't see any privacy violation. Knock that one out of the park today. That is why this ruling is so important. It went line by line through many of the Democrats' arguments and called bunk on them. Now we'll see what the appeals court does and what the Supreme Court does. These are certainly going to get appealed. But that is the big election integrity news dominating Washington.
You know, we keep seeing over and over why Trump targeted the bench in his first administration. And I think this guy, somebody got to him and said, you need to get in line. Because, you know, like Solomon just said, you know, he was the one that had some fishy business going on against Trump. But looks like he's turned over a new leaf, this judge has. So we'll keep an eye on that. Just like Julie Donut says, we have executive orders coming. If we need them, it's in POTUS's back pocket. It's already written, guys. Timing is everything. So these election integrity EOs that are going to be coming down, and he has the authority to make a national emergency on election interference. He's got the goods on everybody. So also, I mentioned that Julie, where she might be doing some guest appearances tonight, it's Friday. I don't know how I forgot this, but it is the People's Ledger tonight at 6 p.m. on Truther Media. So make sure that you're going to truthermedia.com and finding that show for tonight at 6 p.m. All the links are there. I know that Casey and Julie have a fantastic show for you tonight. I kind of know a little bit about what it is. I can't tell you, though, guys. You're going to have to tune in and find out for yourself tonight. So 6 p.m. on the People's Ledger tonight, truthermedia.com. All right, so let's keep going through the news. Todd Blanche on the indictment of Raul Castro. We didn't do this for a show indictment. We did this because listen, guys, listen to this. We did this because we really need Castro here. I wonder why. And think Venezuela. Think Maduro. And we're going to do everything we can to get him here.
For Mr. Castro, like anybody that's indicted outside this country, which we do all the time, the goal of the indictment isn't just the paper it's printed on. It's to bring the person charged into this country in a court of law and have them face justice. And how we do that, I mean, Maduro is an extreme example that happened on January 1st. But how we do that normally is extradition. It's working with our international partners. And so I said this the day of the indictment when we unsealed the indictment. But we didn't do this for a show indictment. We did this because we really need Castro here to face charges. He was indicted again by a grand jury in Miami, and that's where he should be tried. And we're going to do everything we can to get him here.
Think to yourself, how do you introduce evidence legally? Q told us a long time ago this kind of stuff was going to happen. So think with Venezuela and Maduro. How do you inject evidence legally? You got to get them to the United States. You got to put them in front of the court of law. We have to do this by the book. Because if we just do things willy-nilly, that's no better than the Democrats. We have to do things by the book. It had to be this way. That's why it's taking so long. That's why you're not seeing all these big name arrests yet. We're building the case to the American people. It has to be laid out. The evidence has to be injected legally. We can say we have it all, but we have to get it in the system somehow. And this is how we do it. This is exactly how we do it. Real AF Patriot says, it's about to go down. John Solomon confirmed what many of us has been thinking about Tulsi. Tulsi is going to go out in a blaze of glory in her final month. She is going to expose it all. And guess what comes next? What have we just talked about? Hey, a Dutch Rumbler, thanks for checking in. Mass arrest. Elections overturned. Fraud vitiates everything.
Tulsi's going to go out in a blaze of glory in her final month because she will be able to release in succession some extraordinary evidence of foreign interference in our election in 2020 and since. The intelligence community has known a lot more about active measures from China and Iran and other enemies that it did not make public. Instead, it gave a false intelligence community gave the Americans a false sugar pill saying that the 2020 election was the most secure in history. She will systematically destroy that narrative. Now, I think she'll be briefing senators soon on states whose voter databases were penetrated by China. That could move the needle on some of these senators voting for the Save America Act. I think there's a tranche of documents that Tulsi Gabbard needs from OMB. If you're listening, Russ Vogt, pay attention to this. This is important. There is concern that Ukraine was involved in a 2024 scheme to take a large
Max, thanks for checking in on X.
That was given to Ukraine and launder it back to the Biden 2024 campaign. We're not talking about Hunter Biden grift in 2014. We're talking contemporaneously in 2024. The evidence of whether that occurred or not sits in OMB's files because OMB is currently running the U.S. Agency for International Development. If she can get those documents, she could make a criminal referral to the FBI. Thus far, she doesn't have those documents. So I hope Russ Vogt jumps into action pretty quickly. The third thing, so those are the foreign interference things. You could have cheating, a U.S. taxpayer money going to Joe Biden's campaign. That's what the intercepts that we talked about a month ago showed. The proof of that, and I've even talked to some U.S. intelligence community sources who are familiar with what they believe happened here. The proof of that is sitting in USAID records currently in Russ Vogt's possession. The second part of this is what the FBI is doing. Sometimes you don't get a mobster for being a mobster. You get them on taxes or you get them on some other violation. The election workers down at the state levels who changed the rules of election from what their legislatures mandated in Wisconsin, in Georgia, in Arizona can be criminally prosecuted if they did so knowingly and willing, meaning that the legislature said you should do X, but you ran the election this way because that's what you wanted to do. That is what the FBI is beginning to interview people day in and day out doing. And if they build enough evidence with these workers that instructions were given contrary to what the legislator's intent was, you will have a full-blown cheating scandal. The cheating will be they didn't conduct the election the way the law said. That's a little different than what people thought. It's not machines flipping votes, but it's still a form of cheating. It's still depriving the American public of a fair election.
Yep.
That's where the FBI is going. And yesterday, there was a big win in North Carolina. It isn't getting the attention it deserves. North Carolina bureaucrats in the election regime wanted to start registering people who had never set foot in North Carolina and didn't live in California. In North Carolina. They wanted to give them voter registration status even though they don't live in the state. A judge said that is ludicrous. But those are some of those bureaucratic deep state power moves that are cheating elections. A judge beat that back. Things like that went on in 2020, and that's what Kash Patel is pursuing.
Hey, American Jewel, thank you for checking in. Says, been looking for a new morning show. Glad I saw this from X. Thank you so much for checking in. Guys, did you just hear that name? Russ Voigt. Watch this. Russ is the Reaper. Do you remember that one from Donald Trump back in October of last year? President Trump always foreshadows everything that is to come. Every single time. So when he puts out something, it may not quite make sense to you right now, but it will later on down the road. Hey, Fire into 8, I have not seen you in forever, so thank you for checking in over there on Rumble. I love having you back, so thank you so very much for that. So let's go ahead and get back into the news here. Catherine Heritage, follow the pin. Oh, I see Fire and 8 work schedule. I completely understand. I completely get it. Catherine Heritage says, breaking, DNI Gabbard actively working to declassify directed energy weapon and COVID-19 information before June 30th departure as watchdog group sues multiple government agencies over the alleged cover-up. This week on Straight to the Point, I sat down with Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research at Judicial Watch, for an in-depth interview of the watchdog's new Freedom of Information Act lawsuit against the DOJ, FBI, CIA, DOD, Homeland Security, and ODNI for directed energy weapon DEW records, including the reported purchases of device by Homeland Security investigations. Okay, so guys, it's really not a clip, but it's 17 minutes long. 17 minutes long. It's by Catherine Heritage. I really think that we need to watch it. So let's go ahead and dig in.
Week on Straight to the Point, new and exclusive reporting about directed energy attacks and the sudden departure of the nation's top intelligence official, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. We sat down with the head of investigations for Judicial Watch, which is now suing multiple government agencies for records about these attacks on U.S. government personnel and civilians, as well as the reported purchase of one of these weapons by Homeland Security Investigations and the Defense Department. The resignation of DNI Gabbard could impact the lawsuit and accelerate the public release of records previously withheld by the U.S. government. So let's get straight to the point. You filed this lawsuit in February against multiple government agencies. Why is Judicial Watch suing the government now?
Well, we filed the request in February 2026, and there's a
Hey, Captain
statutory length of
Chaos.
time
Thank
when
you
the
for
government
checking
has
in
to
on X.
respond. They exceeded that. They didn't respond substantively. And so at a certain point, our only remedy is to go into a federal court and then get a judge involved and compel the agency to produce records in accordance with the law.
As a seasoned investigator, you've been doing this for decades. What does
Morning
the
signal over noise.
stonewalling by these government agencies tell you?
Stonewalling is either embarrassment or an outright cover-up, in the sense that either they're very hesitant to tell the truth, or they want to tell the truth slowly. They want to sort of dribble out the information, or there's something that they really are not interested in releasing. And it's not necessarily a legitimate desire to withhold information, like if it's classified. This is normally something that they want to withhold because it makes the government look bad.
In the case of directed energy attacks or Havana syndrome, anomalous health incidents, do you think one of the factors is that U.S. government personnel, civilians, have been badly treated?
My interpretation of this is that there's guilty knowledge. And what I mean by that is there are certain officials who had an awareness of this technology, of the weapons, of how it's implemented or used, that they got reporting that people were either hurt or in danger or injured in some way, and that they either failed to act when they should have, or they didn't make corrections or provide defensive countermeasures that would have either mitigated or solved the problem. And so since there's this guilty knowledge, they're very embarrassed because, well, when did you know, and what did you know, and why didn't you act, or why did you put people back in the same position where they could have been harmed? And the government is not too thrilled about answering those questions.
Let's go back to February of this year. Judicial Watch decided to file these Freedom of Information Act requests. They were very aggressive requests. What was the catalyst?
Well, in large part, your reporting, to be very frank, but also we've been watching this now for some time, literally years, and directed energy weapons are, I think, of great public interest. Certainly if they're being used against U.S. government employees, whether they're State Department or military or other people. And then there was this disturbing development, really, of it not being just a Havana or a foreign situation, but that it was happening domestically, that there was some other instance where it seems people were subjected to that kind of a weapon or that type of technology. And so the public has a right to know. And so we're going to try to uncover that.
I have the lawsuit right here. As you mentioned, it's the Justice Department, the Central Intelligence Agency, Department of Defense or Department of War, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the top intelligence official, as well as Homeland Security. You request some very specific records from the FBI. What are you looking for?
The FBI, because of their mission, essentially as our national counterintelligence agency, had to do with their collection of information and reporting on foreign capabilities, sort of a counterespionage, counterintelligence view towards, well, who has these things and how would they be used and how will we be targeted? It's the defensive intelligence aspects of this FBI's mission.
And then also these very well documented attacks here in the United States. We've talked to a number of individuals who say they were hit right here in the Washington, D.C. area.
Right. And so this is obviously under the purview of the FBI. They either, well, they should have, and if they haven't, they need to explain why, investigated these situations, these circumstances, to find out who's doing it, how, what the targeting is. There's just all your basic interrogatives, right? Who, what, when, where, how, and why. We need to understand what was going on. The FBI may not want to tell us all those things, but certainly there's some information they have that should be reported.
With the CIA, you've got some specific requests. What are you looking for?
Right. So there, it's the CIA's mission of doing foreign intelligence collection. So they would be looking at foreign entities, whether they're governments or non-state actors, who would have these type of weapons and who's developing, using them, selling them, It would be the intelligence collection aspect of the issue.
Are you also looking for real-time reporting or
Absolutely.
operational reports
Right. So-
about attacks on CIA personnel, for example?
Exactly. So if there's given any CIA station overseas, if they have an incident or if they have knowledge of the implementation or the use of one of these weapons or the technology, what was it, when, where, how? Again, back to the basic interrogatives. What was going on and how have you reported it and when? Have they known about this for years, months, days? What's the current assessment? What's the current situation?
And this would also show who in the CIA leadership
Absolutely.
had knowledge
Absolutely.
of these directed energy attacks, and how did they respond? Did
Right.
they try and cover it up?
Yeah.
Or did they try and take actions to limit it in the future?
Right. So if you consider this an attack, which I think is legitimate to say that, what was done to reverse it, to counter it? What was done to take care of the people that came under attack? Did you turn around and put people right back in the same situation? I mean, that's whether it's the same building or the same apartment or the same circumstance.
And that's one of the allegations that we have heard from survivors of these incidents, that CIA, different agencies, put American citizens right back in the same locations again.
Right. And so, that's a definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And so using people as guinea pigs, not a good look, not a good idea. And so if the CIA was doing that knowingly, someone has to answer for it.
Did you ask for any medical records?
Medical records are not readily available under the Freedom of Information Act. Now, if there was a medical analysis or report done, that may be something different. But normally that would contain specific information about a person's, what they presented with or what the problems were. And so normally that's pretty tightly held.
What I've seen through my reporting is that there's been a sort of gaslighting of government employees
Right.
who say that they've been injured. Do you think that's part of the stonewalling?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that goes to the point where the people have not been treated very well, right? Where they're either people who have legitimate medical claims have been kind of shunted off and dismissed, or told they're imagining it, or it's some other condition, or it has nothing to do with it's not an employment-related medical problem, or there's just a hesitancy on the part of the government to admit that this is even going on, because it begs the question, why would you put your people in that position knowingly, right? So you're either sort of negligent or you're complicit, one or the other, pick. And neither of those looks very good for the government.
Based on our reporting, DNI Tulsi Gabbard had completed at least what was described to me as an interim report about these directed energy attacks,
Right.
And that the intelligence assessments under the Biden administration, the analysis that tradecraft was defective. They should be recalled. Did you ask for records related to those assessments?
We did, and that's what we're hoping to get, because I think that an assessment document, even if it doesn't, even with the redactions, the blackout marks where they don't want to tell us stuff, they would be of great value.
You made requests to Homeland Security investigations. What records are you looking for there?
That has to do specifically concerning technology, equipment that Homeland Security may have obtained from a foreign source or entity. They have an interest in this as well, because it's really a defensive, well, literally a Homeland Security, but in the sense of a defensive law enforcement protective mission. And if they had the opportunity to obtain a piece of gear or technology that either was the weapon itself or contributed to the use of the weapon, that would be enormously important.
As an investigator, how do you reconcile what appears to be this disconnect? The purchase of a weapon by Homeland Security Investigations, the Defense Department, that's my reporting as well.
Right.
And then these denials that there is no such thing as a novel weapon, and it's highly unlikely that a foreign adversary is involved.
Yeah, the denial or the kind of the stonewalling, gaslighting is preposterous. It's the worst kept secret in the world. So why go through all these machinations and efforts to pretend that no such thing exists? It doesn't make sense. No one buys it.
Why do you think it's happened?
You know, it's tough to define the negative. I mean, my instinct is, again, some sort kind of a cover-up or some effort to not disclose either the length and breadth or the size of the effort that's involved in these directed energy weapons, or some other technology that is beyond what you would immediately think of, or that there's some other horrible legacy or outcome that they're not interested in disclosing or discussing. Those are two things, and I'm guessing, I'm speculating, but I have to because I don't have any other information. Those are two reasons typically why the government would try to hide something.
We recently had testimony from a CIA whistleblower. He alleged that the CIA had been spying on their investigation into anomalous health incidents or directed energy attacks. He went as far as to claim that secure phone calls with whistleblowers were being monitored. Will any records related to these allegations be produced?
I would hope so, but I think that type of activity, assuming that what he's saying is true, and I do believe him, the CIA would do everything under the sun to preclude release or discussion of that.
Since you filed the lawsuit, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has said that she is resigning. She's citing personal reasons. She will be in the office until the end of June.
Right.
Do you think the resignation of DNI Gabbard will impact the lawsuit?
It could in a very positive way. The beautiful thing about the Freedom of Information Act is that it's a disclosure statute. Nothing prevents the government from saying, you know what, you asked the question, good, here you go, and give you the records. So literally, with a stroke of a pen, an outgoing DNI could say, there's no reason to go through litigation on this. It's ridiculous. I'm releasing all the documents. It's discretionary. And with her signature, bang, everything could be released essentially immediately.
When Judicial Watch made a decision to file these Freedom of Information Act requests and now litigate,
right,
this was a great moment for us because we do not have the scope, we don't have the resources to do this ourselves. So having someone come in from the outside, sort of move our reporting forward and get some accountability from the government was really just like a gift in the end.
That's the great thing about the work that we do. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us philosophically or editorially, that isn't the point. We get records and documents from the government and say, here, you read them, you tell me what it means. And that's really, I think, where the rubber meets the road.
You know, through my reporting, I'm a big believer in documents.
Yep, absolutely.
I feel like the document tells its own story.
Yeah, people lie, records don't, generally speaking.
Is that why you like documents,
absolutely,
records, reports?
Yeah, because you'll hear endless spin and convoluted reasoning from people, even in a congressional hearing. But in the end, when someone is committed to writing an official report on what happened or what didn't happen or who did what to who when, it's memorialized for a reason. And it helps illuminate, not just the history of what happened, but where we're going.
Why do you do this type of work?
Because no one else is, or at least no one else is doing it to the size and scale and scope that we have. So Judicial Watch has been around for 32 years. I've been there for 27 of the 32. And we ask unpleasant questions and demand accountability from all sorts of agencies, and also Republicans or Democrats. We're equal opportunity offenders in that way. And it's stuff that the public deserves answers on. And very often, the headline goes by and everyone's forgotten about it. And then all of a sudden, 3 years later, someone says, oh, wow, look. And there's a whole trove of documents we've uncovered that it fills in the blanks of history. It explains why things have happened. It lets the public understand why or what its government is doing or not doing.
There's several things I want to do a debrief on this week. First is these intelligence assessments that were done under the Biden administration that found it was unlikely a novel weapon and unlikely that a foreign adversary was involved in these attacks on U.S. government personnel and civilians. Previously, I reported that DNI Gabbard's investigative team, known as the DIG, the Directors Initiatives Group, found that the analysis was defective, and the recommendation is that these assessments should be recalled. What I now understand is that there were serious and significant errors in judgment in the analysis, and that the analysis was inconsistent with the level of professionalism you would expect from the CIA. The report, I understand, did not address intention or motivation, but that was an issue to be addressed at a later date. And finally, I've been gathering information for several weeks about these allegations that the CIA was tracking members of DNI Gabbard's investigative team. My latest reporting is that it was very well known in national security circles that a CIA investigations unit had sent emails to members of DNI Gabbard's team requesting that they come in for questioning. I was told that this was not routine. This is a unit that does polygraphs, does investigations, and the timing was very suspect. It didn't feel like routine counterintelligence work. Based on my reporting, there are credible allegations that DNI Gabbard's investigative team was blocked from getting access to key officials and key analysts at CIA who were handling the directed energy portfolio. I also understand that they were blocked from getting correspondence among CIA officials that would help them determine whether the intelligence had been manipulated under the Biden administration. And finally, the allegation, again, credible allegation, is that DNI Gabbard's investigators were not able to access some highly restricted intelligence that's held in compartmented programs. With all of these developments, we have reached out to the relevant U.S. government agency, and if we get a response, we will update you. This is the kind of investigative reporting you have come to expect here on Straight to the Point. We'll see you next time.
I gotta show you something. So after watching that and her unpacking everything, this is going to make more sense to you. Q Post 129. Closing Act dismantled. Impossible to clean. Operations moved to no such agency. Q. The stage is being set for that drop right now. You're seeing the leaks of the CIA come out one after another, after another, after another. That's how things operate. We set the stage first. We can't just come out and say, we're getting rid of the CIA. See ya. What's people going to do? They will lose their minds. The influencers out there will get everybody riled up saying, what is Trump doing? We need the CIA. No, but when you do it this way, you prove your point of what you're going to do. Moves and counter moves. All right, let's keep going through the news. Gosh, we got so much today. And we know, says Greg Gutfeld torches leftist ICE rioters. You cannot take them seriously. They choose not to be well because acting in this manner, it gives them some kind of agency and attention they can't get on their own depressing lives. He called out the hypocrisy. You can complain all you want about the maggots in the ICE facilities. I don't believe you. I don't believe any Democrat about immigration. Gutfeld exposes why ICE agents wear masks because these radicals openly threaten to kill them and their families. Democrats have zero credibility left after these years of lies.
Why ICE agents wear masks? Because they tell you that they're going to kill you and your family. But those activists, you cannot take them seriously for a number of reasons. But the number one reason is they are not well, but they choose not to be well. Because by acting in this manner, it gives them some kind of agency and attention that they can't get in their own kind of depressing lives. I can't believe I did this, but I did some research.
Wow.
Yeah. Because what are they protesting? They're protesting inhumane conditions. And everybody goes, well, there must be inhumane conditions there. But I looked at it. I did my research. They rely on unvetted secondhand testimonials taken at face value from Democrats, as usual, and the media, as usual. And we know we do not trust any of that, nor do we have to, because they have no credibility. Again, as I said before, they're now at the children's table after what they lied about when it came to the border, immigration, the president. They're at the kids' table. We don't have to take anything they say. This is the problem with lying, is that it comes back to haunt you when you might want to say something truthful. We throw it all out. It's tainted like rancid potato salad. In terms of the complaints, there's no video, medical records, or public reports. But I have to admit, Jerry Nadler went
Hey,
there.
okay, Patriot. Thank you
what
for
he said?
checking in over there on
The
Rumble.
food comes in small portions.
And has maggots in it.
Yeah, but it's in small portions.
I get it. You want to call him fat, but
No.
there's.
Why would you say that? He has a medical condition, Jessica. My God, he's obese, not fat. But the conditions are roughly the same as from where they came from. Messy John's medical delays. But maggots or not, it is the food's dietitian approved. I don't see the maggots. Why aren't they documented? They get 24/7 medical access. But here's the key, and this is the only thing you need to remember. Where the opposition to immigration policy scales up, the complaints spike. They are aggregated and they are amplified, designed to set the stage for this chaotic mess. But these people, you do not have to fear them. You do not have to listen to them. They created the problem. They have lost the privilege of input. You can complain all you want about the maggots. I don't believe you. Because I don't believe any Democrat about immigration. It's just like commenting on Trump's health after enabling Biden's cover-up. I don't have to listen to that anymore. You guys blew it. Trump sealed what you broke, the border. Now he's cleaning up the aftermath. You can't stand there and tell us how to clean up the mess.
Playbook known. Secondhand sources. Anonymous sources. We're just supposed to trust these people? Not anymore, we don't. All of it's lies. Every bit of it is lies. Dan Bongino spoke to Secret Service Director Sean Curran and learned of some big changes being made to keep President Trump safe. Donald Trump is the most threatened politician on earth. Curran is on it.
I feel like it's an exclusive, which is great. Wasn't intended to be. However, Sean, the director of the Secret Service, Sean Curran, and I had a fascinating conversation yesterday. And one of the things I had brought up on the air, because obviously I'm not in daily communication with him anymore, being outside the government, and he's got his own job to do. He didn't be talking to me every day. But one of the things he had told me, and I brought up on the air, is, listen, Donald Trump is the most threatened politician on earth, the most threatened politician in my 51 years on the planet I've ever seen. And I've worked for quite a few of them. I worked in the Bill Clinton era White House. I worked in the Obama White House.
Hey, R. Pierce,
House
thank you for checking in on
I've
Rumble.
never seen anything like the threat level against President Trump ever, not even close. He gets that and recognizes that. He understands that there were a lot of things that had gone wrong over the last few years, and he's trying to make big, massive changes. Unfortunately, the government moves at a glacial pace sometimes, so they're requesting more assets. And I know, more money, everybody's always asking for more money, but the Secret Service is one of those spaces where you actually need people. Technology is never going to overcome a protection issue. It can be helpful, it can be additive, but ultimately you need people. You need people around the president. They're not bodyguards in this sense, but they are advance agents, and they're going to have to do it. So one of the things he told me that they had already moved on, which I was happy to hear, is remember I told you about how you have these special forces guys out there. You have these special forces men out there who, they may have been Green Berets for 10 or 15 years. They may have been, Army Rangers. They may have been SEALs. They may have been Delta, pararescue. You have all of these operators out there with an amazing level of skill. You guys, anyone in the chat knows someone in special forces? Folks, they're just a different breed of men. They just are. It takes so much grit and drive and physical stamina and mental stamina to make it to one of these tier 1 units. It's almost like an unimaginable level of like toughness to get there. I can't even imagine what that's like. You know, I went through a couple of police academies and Secret Service Academy. Let's be honest, it's nothing like, buds for the Navy SEALs. It's just not. My point was, when I brought this up to Sean, is you got these guys out there who may be 35, 37, who are in better shape than 99.99 repeating decimal, better shape than most 18-year-olds out there. They're in better shape at 37 than most 18-year-old Division I athletes out there. Now, they may be done with their military service. They may be leaving the military for other reasons. Maybe they're going back to their families and they're looking for more stability or what. I don't know. People come and go from government jobs, for all kinds of reasons. I know I've been in and out of government most of my adult life. They are still serviceable on a counter-assault team. You can use them in the Secret Service for a SWAT team. They're called CAT, the counter-assault team in the Secret Service. These guys probably could work 10 more years. I'd take one of these guys in their 50s in a second over an 18-year-old out of college. I'm sorry, I would. I've seen these guys operate. They've got it up here. They've got it in the biceps and the pectorals too. And you 50-year-olds now with all the supplements and stuff, Father Time still hits you. These guys can still rock and roll. And let me tell you something. We're not dropping, but you're going to try to ease up on the F-bombs yesterday. You don't want to F with them. Turns out Sean's working on that. They've got this pipeline, push these guys right into the SWAT teams in the Secret Service known as CAT. I was very refreshed to hear it. He also brought up how important this ballroom is going to be. It didn't disclose anything to me classified. Obviously, I'm on the outside now. However, he said, you were at the White House. You know from your time what some of the security issues were. We're not going to talk about that here. He's like, the ballroom solves most of this. They need the ballroom. Another huge story on that. So just a couple of things I wanted to bring up. I spoke with him yesterday about he's on it. The technology they're working on, drones, all of the other stuff that they're working on. I was very happy to hear it. They are not taking any of this lying down. He's not a guy that goes, we don't have any issues. He's not doing that at all. So I was very happy to hear that yesterday.
So we've been asking ourselves, for, a year now, possibly more, why aren't we using our military to protect our president with? Seems pretty simple to me. I mean, he is the commander-in-chief. So, the Secret Service, I think, has heard us. They're like, that's probably a pretty good idea. Let's start popping in some of these special forces guys that are coming out of the military into the Secret Service. They are going to be overqualified to protect the president. So we've seen that he needs more protection. He is, by the deep state standards, the most hated person on this earth. They're going to keep trying to take him out. Excellent move by our Secret Service. I can't say that enough. Gunther Eagleman reports, boom! Louisiana House just passed the new congressional maps, eliminating a Democrat district and locking in a 5R-1D advantage. 5 Republicans, 1 Democrat advantage. The vote was 66-35, landslide. Look at that map. That big, beautiful red map with just a little bit of blue. And I believe, I live right near Louisiana, I believe that's going to mostly be your New Orleans area right through there. So, we all know about New Orleans and everything like that. So that's not surprising. But I believe that even that county right there, that's blue on the proposed map that just passed, will turn red. I'm with AJP. I think that this is going to be the year of the red tsunami. just by looking at everything, looking at the possible EOs coming, looking at the national emergency. Tulsi Gabbard is going to be releasing the 2020 election interference and the 2016 election stuff, guys. We can't forget about 2016 as well. And they tried to do it in 2024. The 2018 midterms, I'm sure we'll see some stuff on that. The 2022 midterms, we're going to see stuff on that too. And we know reports just in, HHS is now rolling out artificial intelligence to cross-check payments and catch fraud across the system. This is a direct response to massive gaps in how states track and spend taxpayer dollars. The grift is being exposed and shut down.
Made in just 4 states, $410 million incorrectly billed. And examining this really depends on each state's ability to organize and analyze its own spending. That's why HHS is now deploying AI tools to double check that oversight and try to root out any possible fraud bill.
Okay, more to come on that, I think, right?
Yeah,
Runs
for sure.
far and deep.
For
Alexandria Hoff, thank you in Washington.
Sure.
And former First Lady Jill Biden with a shocking...
So, guys, I mean, now do you see why Trump on day one partnered with AI companies? Because we have to move at a rapid pace. In order to do that, we've got to go through all these documents and all this spending and where it's going and who's getting it, who's writing the checks. AI can do that. We would have to hire, train thousands of new people. Although that sounds good, we don't have time for it. We've got to be able to root out all this corruption and this money flowing. Follow the money. It's key. Follow the money. It's key. We've got to be able to do it just like that. And we got to do it by the book. So I know everybody out there has fear in AI. Julie Donut says, we are taking over AI, so it's in the hands of the good guys. It was already coming and has been for years. President Trump knows that. Just like Julie says all the time, guys, trust your president. Has he failed us yet? Truly and honestly, has he failed us yet? That man right there has never failed us. We're going through some tough times right now through the Trump transition. You know, these companies are not going to give him wins. He's going to have to force them to lower prices, and that's what is going on right now. But we got to be patient. Nobody said this was going to happen overnight. That's why all these people out there that are supposedly on our team saying, oh, Trump's just going to come in and flip a switch and it's all going to be good. I don't think real life happens that way. That's just me. But anyways, getting back to AI, that's why that Trump partnered. He needs AI to root out all this corruption. Julie Donut says, stop vaccinating your pets. None of them are safe. None of them are effective. All are absolute poison.
Our pets. Is it true that they are putting mRNA in things like the rabies vaccine?
Unfortunately, it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. Last year, the USDA authorized Novavax NXT. It's developed by Merck. It's a RNA particle injection that are self-amplifying RNA particle injection for dogs and cats for rabies, feline leukemia virus, and canine flu. So veterinarians across the country are injecting self-amplifying RNA injections into our pets. Most people don't even know. They'll go to the vet. Nobody tells them it's self-amplifying RNA. This can probably shed onto dog or cat owners through bodily secretions, given how it's self-amplifying. So if you go to the vet and you have to give your dog or cat a rabies shot, make sure it's not Novavax NXT.
I gotta go check that, because now if my cat got it, does that mean I'm vaccinated?
We don't know. They never tested it.
Oh my gosh, this is horrifying.
Guys, that's alarming. Yeah, Julie Donut says, I hate them so much. Freaking monsters. They are monsters. They don't want you happy. They don't want you to have pets. That's why they throw all this crap in the pet food. Debbie V said, I lost 2 in a year's time. Eat For says, evil, pure evil. You know, our pets depend on us to be healthy. And just to let you guys know, this episode is brought to you by justiceshrooms.com and justicepetclub.com. And here's why I say this. So the people over at Pet Club 24/7 have brought us an amazing product made. You remember how God said in the Bible that our medicine is going to be through our food? It works for us. So it should work for our pets too, don't you think? I mean, they are God's creation. So you just heard that all these vaccines have this self-replicating mRNA and blah, 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 and, you know, possibly shedding and stuff. Okay, so same with us. Okay, we get these, well, I'm not saying you guys do, but people get these vaccines and they get sicker and sicker and sicker. Same for your dogs. Your body gets out of balance. So you can put your pet's body back in balance and turn off that little check engine light that you see going off when they start getting like these little sores and their fur starts getting dull, their little pads start cracking and things like that. You can get your pet's body back in balance. Just go to justicepetclub.com. Check out this product right here. It's Hush Puppies Plus. It's easy to chew for your pets also that have sensitive teeth or have lost some of their teeth. They have normal ones too that are normal to help clean their teeth as they eat it. It has the one mushroom that everybody needs, including us. And I'm not saying you got to eat these because you have justiceshrooms.com for that, for our needs. But this, we're talking about our pets' needs right now. It has the Corylus mushroom in it. That is the mushroom that helps us get back into balance, number one. If you don't take any of them, take that one right there. And as you can see, if you wanted to go to justiceshrooms.com, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's the turkey tail mushroom. And remember, guys, all of this stuff is made in the USA, sourced in the USA, packaged in the USA by a Christian company, Pet Club 24/7 and Forest Natural. So if you want to get your body back in balance and your pet's body back in balance, you can go to justiceshrooms.com for you and justicepetclub.com for your pets. So, guys, let's move on in the news. I've still got so much to go over, guys, and we're an hour and 22 minutes in, so let's keep trucking here. So, Real AF Patriot has been noticing some things lately. Another Apprentice Q-Proof. This toy is from 2004, and guess what? It says 17 phrases. What? 17? Hat tip goes to Digongo on Telegram. Let's look at some of these pictures right here. You can see right there. It's a Trump doll. It's the Apprentice Trump figure. It says 17 phrases. I have no choice but to tell you you're fired. Plus more. Hey, thank you, Dana Lee, for going and checking out our sponsor. So thank you so much for that. Real AF Patriot also says this appeared on season 2 of The Apprentice. Guys, what do you see right there? Not just a Q, but the Q. So when we tell you this is a multi-year operation, it goes way back. Trump had to get in people's homes for years at a time. They had to set the stage. Who most recently come onto stage? Donald J. Trump. Awesome catch, Steve. Breaking: Blue Origin's New Glenn blows up at Launch Complex 36 while attempting to static fire. Let's watch this video. So if you don't know what Blue Origin is, it's basically Amazon's answer to SpaceX. And they're trying to play catch up, and they're trying to get into the space game. Well, it doesn't look like they're doing such a good job of it right now. I think I'll stick with Elon in the SpaceX movement. I think I'll pass on Blue Origin. Eric Daugherty reports just now, Stephen Miller says President Trump's Operation Epic Fury is the most complete, thorough, total military thrashing in the history of armed conflict. 4 weeks in a country decimated to that degree, to that extent. Let's watch Steve Miller.
The Iran nuclear deal, the so-called JCPOA, Iran was on a guaranteed path to a nuclear weapon, to being the dominant power in the region, to being the richest and most militarily threatening nation in the entire Middle East, with the ability to launch ballistic and ultimately nuclear weapons to Europe and eventually the United States. Now, because of President Trump, their economy has been dismantled. Their nuclear program under Operation Midnight Hammer has been obliterated. Their entire defense industrial base has been eradicated. Their navy's at the bottom of the sea. Their air force at the bottom of the sea. Their entire leadership class has been decapitated. It is the most complete, thorough, total military thrashing in the history of armed conflict. 4 weeks and a country decimated to that degree, to that extent, and now here we are at the end of that with Iran putting on the table a complete reopening of the Strait, as has been discussed, and many other concessions that are going to be unveiled in the time to come. But again, there's no deal until there's a deal. Nothing's final until it's final. And President Trump's been clear that he reserves the option now or at any time in the future to do whatever is necessary to defend and protect America's national security.
All right, well,
He's not messing around. He's given them opportunity to do the right thing, as he always does. He always gives them the chance to do what's right. So here's some more developments that happened yesterday. Give me just 1 second to get this pulled up. So Jesse Waters says, breaking, U.S. and Iran just agreed to a deal. Next step, Trump signs off.
Fox News alert, we kind of have a deal. Officials say U.S. and Iranian negotiators have agreed to a 60-day memorandum of understanding. The agreement would crack open the Strait, launch a new wave of negotiations over the enemy's uranium, and extend the ceasefire for another 60 days. But it's waiting on one thing, the president's sign-off. He's told negotiators that he's going to think about it, and he might be waiting for the Arabs to sign on too. Over the weekend, officials say the deal would be broken up into 2 parts. This is the first stage. Administration sources tell Axios, quote, this is an agreement to get everybody to the table. We will work out the details in the negotiations. The president will come into the second phase stern with his demands. Here's Scotty B in the briefing room today. Watch.
He has several red lines, and Iran has to turn over their highly enriched uranium. They cannot pursue a nuclear weapon, and the Strait of Hormuz has to be free and open as it was before. So he's not going to take a bad deal. He's going to make a great deal for the American people.
President's not in any rush. If the mullahs don't agree, back to bombs.
Is there a line that they would cross for you to go on the offensive again militarily?
Well, a deal that wasn't going to be good for us is the line, ultimately, because, I'm playing it out and we're going to see, and that's what I do. I negotiate, they negotiate. They're very good negotiators. They're crafty. But in the end, we have all the cards.
Over the last 48 hours, we've gotten into a couple of skirmishes. They tried laying mines in the Strait. We blew up their boats. They shot drones. We knocked them out and their launchers. These rogue soldiers even lobbed a ballistic missile toward Kuwait last night, but it was shot down. Here's JD.
These ceasefires are always a little messy, and sometimes the guys at the lower level aren't communicating with the guys at the top level. Sometimes people make mistakes. The president's been very clear that if we're fired upon, we're going to fire back. But if you compare the conflict now to where it was 5-6 weeks ago, I think the president's ceasefire is very much holding.
The hardliners don't want a deal, but the regime, they need it. They have to shock some life back into the economy. A block of cheese over there, 8 million reals. 8 million. Inflation's killing them, worse than Biden. And Bessent's squeezing them like a figure-4 leg lock. Treasury's even going after Iranian airlines, cutting off landing and refueling spots. The gay Ayatollah's on his knees, begging for unfrozen cash and sanctions drop. No dust. No deal. U.S. officials say this, quote, the more the Iranians are willing to give, the more they will get. And Bessent says a deal's the only way they can end the downward spiral. They can unshackle their economy and free up a lot of sweet crude for the rest of the world.
Oil prices are down about 10% in May. There are almost 2,000 ships waiting to come out of the Gulf. And I think the oil market is going to be very well supplied on the other side of this, and that we could see prices come down very quickly.
The price of oil is going down into the low 90s, and another day of record highs for the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P. So the economy's holding up, and the midterms are around the corner. But the president's not thinking about that. He just wants the best deal.
So if you wanted to play that game, then you would wait till the midterms are over, and then the following hour, you'll attack Iran because they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Most people agree with me on that. But then it gets maybe carried into, the next election, whether it's a midterm or not. So you have a very short window for doing anything having to do with war. But I don't view that window. I view it, I have to do what's right.
He has to do what's right. He doesn't play the politics. That's why we put him in the office. So, guys, we're coming upon the deal. He has to have the dust. We know why he has to have the dust. It's uranium-1. We got to prove uranium-1 to the public. We already know where that uranium come from. It come from Hillary Clinton's State Department. We know that. But the American people has to be told on their little black box hanging on the wall where it come from. And how does he do that? He gets it from Iran and makes a peace deal with Iran. That's the only way that we can prove uranium-1. Gunther Eagleman says, Dan Goldman, the king of selective outrage. This is the same guy who was silent when Biden and company funneled billions through shady NGOs, green energy scams, and endless Ukraine checks with zero oversight. Now a Trump admin fund has him clutching pearls about a corrupt slush fund and lecturing Republicans on their constitutional duty? Spare us. Your party turned checks and balances into a rubber stamp for 8 straight years. The hypocrisy is actually impressive.
To go out, or do you think that there is any chance Congress and the efforts that some of you are making will be able to stop it?
Well, look, if Congress does not stop this unbelievable, unprecedented, corrupt slush fund, then I think if I'm a Republican, I have to just hold my head in shame and go home. What is the point of being in Congress if you have a constitutional duty and oath to be a check and balance on the administration? when the President of the United States has self-dealt himself a $1.8 billion slush fund to be distributed to anyone he wants to without any transparency or without any reason. It is a violation of so many laws and constitutional provisions, but it is really an indictment of Republicans if they do not stand up and stop this.
Congressman Dan.
Guys, think mirror. That guy needs to be looking in the mirror. Rubber stamp, rubber stamp, rubber stamp, rubber stamp. What are we seeing in California right now, guys? We're seeing massive fraud. Minnesota, massive fraud through NGOs that come from the Biden administration. But we're getting on Trump because he wants to try to reimburse our J6ers for all the suffering and everything that happened there. Are you kidding me? I just don't know how these people can sleep at night, for real. Gunther Eagleman also says, city residents absolutely torching LA. It's time for Spencer Pratt.
What makes you angry about LA?
Kind of smell like shit, but it's alright. Homeless on every corner.
LA isn't a city, it's a public toilet at this point.
I don't want to walk to my car and go, oops, I stepped in human feces.
Actually, I'm not angry about LA. There's traffic, but it's been like that forever.
There's homelessness, but it's been like that forever.
Yeah.
Poverty, period.
The potholes.
What is Mayor Bass doing to solve these problems?
No, I ain't heard nothing. No
change. Nothing.
Still smell like I haven't seen none.
I wonder sometimes.
Who were you voting for?
Bass.
Right. Nothing that Bass has done, but you're going to vote for her.
I'm not even voting.
Does it matter? It really doesn't matter. Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt. We're going to have a Pratt Daddy summer, I'll tell you that.
He actually tells us the truth. He tells you the real hard truth of what's going on.
Karen Bass.
What is Karen Bass's greatest accomplishment?
Removing the homeless.
Yeah, she did a great job with that.
I do. I believe so. Do you agree?
No.
Absolutely not.
It's been a year and a half since the Palisades fire, and practically nothing has been rebuilt. If this was a year and a half ago, I would be in someone's house right now. Did Karen Bass do a good job handling the Palisade fires?
Absolutely not. She wasn't even here.
She could have done a better job of throwing a ball from here to China.
She didn't do a great job.
So just so we're counting, can't name an accomplishment of Karen Bass, didn't do a good job in the fires, but she's still your girl.
She's still my girl.
Nithya Raman.
Never heard of her.
She says she has the solution to stopping wildfires, stopping backyard barbecues.
I'm African American, I'm whole black. We gonna barbecue regardless.
What? Now you can't do that.
Enough said.
Pratt says he just wants you to go get a matcha without having to step on human poop. Is that how low the bar is here in LA?
I have thrown away 3 pairs of shoes before stepping actual human feces.
You do have to watch your step. These people that want to vote for Karen Bass or ramen noodles, you want to step in poop?
That's all of us. He says nobody is fixing LA's problems. Is he right?
I didn't see nothing get fixed.
He's right.
I look at Spencer Pratt, I see myself. I see somebody who has directly been affected by the leadership.
You can't solve everything overnight.
She's been mayor for 4 years.
Okay, touche. You got me on that one.
Karen Bass said by 2026 there'll be zero homelessness. Does this look like zero homelessness? How's the homeless situation here?
Bad. The other day I saw a naked man.
It's everywhere. I mean, go down the street right here, you'll see a crackhead running.
It's now a druggy situation.
I just seen a homeless person, like 10 different homeless people around the corner.
Karen Bass said by 2026 there'd be zero homelessness in LA.
Karen Bass lied her ass off. Maybe December 31st, 2026.
When you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Here in LA, if you need to throw something away, look no further than to the ground. Migrant here in California just got a free government-funded boob job. Has the government ever given you anything for free?
Trauma.
We ain't got reparations. Where's mine at? Do I have to be homeless and an immigrant to get anything?
I might approve of that one because I want to look at some hot people.
Doesn't mean we have to like you.
By the way, before I let you go, should Gavin Newsom run for president?
Hell no.
A triple hell no. Who the is Gavin Newsom?
You think Kamala bombed? Listen.
Ain't he losing his memory? He's old.
Gavin's about 40-something years old.
So I got him confused with that other fool that was running for president.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, Joe Biden.
Bingo.
What do you want to tell Jesse Waters? You're on his show on Fox.
Oh, boy.
Do you know who I am?
Mm-mm.
Here's Johnny.
Oh, jeez.
That was awesome. Yeah, Annie Oakley says, and I wholeheartedly agree with this. Over my dead body, no, you will never, ever take away my barbecue. I agree with that. I love barbecue. As you can tell, I love barbecue. So it's gotten really bad over there in LA. You've got people that have lost home after home after home. The Democrat Party and the rhinos have completely forgotten about the people. And that's evidence right there that we just watched. They're just, again, rubber stamping stuff through. They want to keep people in drugs. Because when people are drug addicted, guess what? They're very controllable and they need the government. They need all these people getting handouts from the government. Wall for him says, I'm originally from SoCal. My heart breaks for my native state. Yeah, there's so many people, and we're going to have a little bit more about that. There's so many people moving out of California right now. It is insane, and moving out of Los Angeles because either they've lost their homes and they can't afford to rebuild. Nobody will insure them over there. Homelessness. There's crap literally everywhere, all over the streets. Trash everywhere. Craziness walking down the streets. You don't even know that if you can go out in the public without being shot. But just like you just saw that guy on there. He's like, yeah, I'm voting for Bass. Why? Because it says D by her name, and we've been raised to, by the union workers back in the day, and our grandparents and everything. Vote Democrat, vote Democrat. You gotta vote Democrat. That's the way my family was. The days of just voting for somebody because they have a letter beside their name that you like is over. We need results. And that's what President Donald J. Trump is doing right now. He is draining the swamp on both sides. Not just the Democrats, but the Republicans too. Believe him right now when he tells you that somebody is not good. Quit playing all these mental gymnastics. Oh, they're really good. They're good people. He's just putting them in the spotlight to get them reelected. Have you looked at President Trump's endorsement record? If it is 5G war, I don't think it's working. You told us that these people would turn against Trump. That Trump is putting in the spotlight right now. Yeah, Patriotic Lupa says, trust Trump. Absolutely. Julie Donut says over and over, trust your president. Wholeheartedly agree. MJ Truth Ultra says, WTF. California Democrats have lost their damn minds. California Democrats are trying to push through a bill. Guys, listen to this. Stop what you're doing right now. California Democrats are trying to push through a bill that would lessen prison sentences for only criminal illegal aliens, just so they won't get deported. Not only that, California taxpayer funds would be used to provide illegal aliens with attorneys, even those convicted of serious crimes like murder, rape, child predation, and other violent offenses. AB 2600 and AB 2669 are now in the early committee stages in the California Assembly. What is going on with our country right now over there in California. Watch California. Watch New York City.
And then you bring a bill like this that would say, if you are an illegal immigrant, we are going to give you a lighter sentence so you don't get deported. Is that not a two-tiered system in this country? Is that not offensive to all of the American citizens? I'm simply just asking them to consider the American citizen. Why would you give somebody who the first thing they did to this country was break the law? The second thing they did to stay in this country was to break the law. And now you want to make laws lighter on them. It's the issue that we have in this state is that our laws truly aren't laws. When you have sanctuary policies, when you have different laws here, they become suggestions. And we as lawmakers, if we all want this subjective interpretation of the law, then why should anybody listen to a legislator in the state of California if you don't want to listen to the laws that are put on the books from Congress? If you wanted to change the law, there is a process to do so, but that's not what they want. They want people to openly break the law and then also listen to their laws that they want to put in place.
Yeah. You know, Burn Notice over there in the Rumble chat, he said, I walk the streets of Cali and most people are full of love. My Aussie accent may help, but the people want peace. And that's true. We just saw it from those interviews too. We just saw it. More John Solomon news. There have been 5 times in the past 120 years that the president's party has gained seats in the House. And I think this could be one of them. Ashley Hayek, Executive Vice President of the America First Policy Institute, noted data indicating a decrease in traditional low prosperity and faith-based voters, matching parallel upticks with senior turnout, which rose by 17%. Huh. That number's pretty interesting, isn't it?
I'm a sucker for elections too, as and I will say we have an interesting, a very big difference in the electorate this cycle. So if you look at 2024 and 2026 in midterm elections, low propensity, we call them our couch potato voters, drop over 30%. Faith voters drop over 30%. Senior turnout increases 17%. So those different policies like Trump RX healthcare is going to be really important to this electorate. And so one of the things that we noticed too is that people tried to compare what happened in Virginia in the gubernatorial election to indicate that, oh, Republicans are just not going to show up for this election. But unfortunately, I think that some conservatives weren't as excited as they were as, let's say, Ed Galbraith in Kentucky. We are seeing the MAGA base, the Trump-endorsed candidates, the voters turn out for those Trump-endorsed candidates overwhelmingly, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. Even on the redistricting initiative, we saw in rural parts of Virginia the MAGA voter outperform compared to 2024. And so I have a lot of confidence that we can turn out. The maps are changing significantly, which already puts conservatives at an advantage. And look what happened in Indiana when 5 state senators lost their seats because they did not impose that Trump mandate to redistrict in their state. So I feel very optimistic, cautiously optimistic. I think it can be a historic election. There have been 5 times in the past about 120 years that the president's party has gained seats in the House. And I think this could be one of them. We have a historic president in President Trump. And I think we're going to see historic turnout this fall.
We're going to see turnout like we have never seen before. I'm telling you, the red tsunami is coming this fall to you. It truly will be a red October. It's coming. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, thanks to President Trump's historic $1.5 trillion military investment, our troops will receive the largest pay raise in modern history. We are also making a generational investment into barracks, military infrastructure, and troop support systems. America first equals troops first.
The United States has the greatest military the world has ever known. But not just because we have the best jets, the best ships, and the best weapon systems, but because our greatest asset is the American warfighter. For too long, Washington has not done enough for the Americans who make our military the most lethal fighting force in history. Under President Trump, that changes right now. This budget is about our people. Because let's be honest about the reality on the ground. We ask our troops to leave their families, to deploy and train in the most complex threat environments since World War II. But when they return to duty, they're met with outdated facilities, substandard barracks, and too often, straight up hazardous living conditions. On top of that, before this administration, we had young enlisted families relying on food pantries just to get by. This is, of course, completely unacceptable for the greatest fighting force in the world. Our troops should never be and will never be on food stamps. With this president in charge, no more. Things are changing fast. As part of our generational $1.5 trillion budget, we're making an aggressive, historic investment in military infrastructure by spending $90 billion on revitalized barracks and facilities. And that money will get rid of all substandard and failing barracks. But housing, it's only half the battle. This budget includes the largest pay raise for our troops in modern history, up to 7% for junior enlisted, and pay raises for everyone in the force. We're also investing over $35 billion into the support systems that our military families rely on every single day. This budget fully funds military health care, finally making TRICARE more desirable than Medicare. We're investing in child care and youth programs, upgraded commissaries, and better military schools. And that's why this budget also provides record funding for the PCS task force and spousal employment programs to ensure a smoother moving process the way it should be. Taking care of our troops isn't about just doing the right thing. It's about military readiness. When our warfighters know that their families are safe and secure and provided for, they can focus on lethality. That's why we're asking our partners in Congress to work with us to pass this historic budget and generational investment. Because, as you know, our troops have already written a blank check to this country. It's time we made good on our end of the deal. America's warriors fight for us. This budget is fighting for them.
No, guys, I don't have the hottie alert button. I know I need to work on I'm writing it down right now. I know I need to work on my emojis in here in Rumble. So, but going back to what Pete was saying is that President Trump is not only is he the people's president, he's the military president too. He truly puts our military first. He takes care of our military the way they always should have been taken care of. Every time. I did see something in one of the chats over there in YouTube. Trump just posted about Iran Situation Room time. Let me go to Truth Social real quick and let's see what our president is saying. Okay, let me clip this so we can all read it together. Give me just 1 second here. Might even do a little bit of a decode. I don't know. Okay, don't have any time to clean it up or anything, so we're just going to throw it on the screen. Donald J. Trump says, Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately opened. No tolls for unrestricted ship traffic in both directions. All water mines, bombs, if any, will be terminated. We have removed through detonation numerous such mines with our great underwater minesweepers. Iran will complete the immediate removal and or detonation of any mines that are left, which will not be many. Ships caught in the strait due to our amazing and unprecedented naval blockade, which will now be lifted, may start the process of heading home. Say hello to your wives, husbands, parents, and families from me, your favorite president. The enriched material, sometimes referred to as nuclear dust, which was buried deep underground with virtually collapsed mountains, caused by our powerful B-2 bomber attack 11 months ago, sitting on top of it, will be unearthed by the United States, which is agreed is the only country, along with China, in the mechanical capability of doing so. In close coordination and conjunction with the Islamic Republic of Iran, plus the International Atomic Energy Agency, thank you, clearance, and destroyed. No money will be exchanged until further notice. Other items of far less importance have been agreed to. I will be meeting now in the Situation Room to make the final determination. Thank you for your attention on this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Looks like, guys, it's Friday. The stuff always goes down on Friday. Every single time. So President Trump is heading to the Situation Room right now as we speak so he can determine what he needs to do in the next steps. So we could be coming to another military operation, or we be coming to a peace deal. I don't think he wants to drag this out very much longer. He wants an answer. He wants a straight open. He wants to get the job done. Like I told you earlier, he ain't messing around. Yeah, Andrea says Situation Room? Question mark. I think this goes to bombs, just in my opinion. Yeah, you know, when you're in the Situation Room, you know, there's going to be a situation. That's why they call it the Situation Room. Yeah, so K9 Andrea, I agree with you. So we're going to the military option. I can feel it. I think so. I think he's done playing these games. We'll just see, though. You know, he puts out statements like this. Remember, statements are released sometimes to create a countermove or a disastrous countermove by the other side. So he's probably going to hold pat here for the next hour and see what's going to happen and see what Iran says. Because, you know, when the President Trump hits a Situation Room, something's going down. Yeah, Make It Make Sense over on YouTube says, gonna get the dust. The dust is critical to this whole thing. That's why we're doing it. Uranium One. All right, we got a couple things here left. And we know reports, wow, 19,958 votes flipped from Trump to Biden in 33 seconds. Biden certified Georgia win 11,779 votes. Audits and courts upheld the results. Election integrity concerns persist. We must secure a future election with strict ID, paper ballots, and audits. 2020 was stolen from the American people.
In Antrim County, ballots were counted for Democrats that were meant for Republicans, causing a 6,000 vote swing against our candidates. The county clerk came forward and said tabulating software glitched and caused a miscalculation of the votes.
I don't care what you say. The machines have to go away. When David Clements, we attended a David Clements seminar in Mississippi, he was going over why these machines have to be taken out. Because even when they're not connected to the internet, they still have programs to get the vote where it needs to be without internet access. Think of it like your car, okay? So you set wherever you want it to be in your car, what speed. And then your computer adjusts your speed as you go to keep you on a path. That path is already predetermined in the election before they even start counting the votes. What happens is these mail-in ballots, they all come rushing in at the very first of it, and then the system calculates what the curve needs to be and how these ballots need to come in at certain times, because when you have this huge massive gap the first hour, like usually the Democrats come way up in here with the mail-in votes, and then you got the Republicans way down there. But as the night goes on, it narrows and narrows and narrows and narrows, okay? But here's the deal with that. They have to make it look believable. So what do? They start giving the Republicans more votes, okay, to get that gap lowered to where it usually always comes out to about 51-49 or 52-48 Democrat. Although it started out 80-20, and that gap narrowed to make it look more believable. All these machines do is get put on a cruise control. Hey, Cynthia, thank you for joining there on X. I was late this morning, too. So I was an hour late coming in, so I apologize for that. All right, so we're going to move on. Eric Daughtery reports, Governor Ron DeSantis, I'm doing a fundraiser in Florida, and the very nice gentleman talks about this decision to leave California and what we were talking about earlier. Loving Florida, thanking me. Then he pauses and says, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. The crowd erupted.
I'm doing a fundraiser down in Southwest Florida. People are introducing themselves, and a very nice gentleman was talking about making the decision to leave California, loving Florida, thanking me for how the state's run, pausing, and then saying, hey, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law, by the way. And the crowd erupted. They thought that was, but you see California is driving people away still. And just in the last 6 or 9 months, I mean, the people that have left California for Florida, I mean, some really, really big names because they don't like the way California's governed. And, that's just the way it goes. My whole life until recently, people aspired to go to California because it's such a beautiful state naturally, and they've hemorrhaged business, they've hemorrhaged population, and they've hemorrhaged wealth, and that's just a result of the bad policies. California didn't all of a sudden lose its coastline or lose all the great things it had. It just got inflicted with leftist ideology.
And by the way, Mark Zuckerberg, co-founders of Google, 2 of them.
That is hilarious. And it's true. When we were kids growing up, the place to be was going to be California. Annie Oakley says 24. It said, if I could leave, I would go to Mississippi. I live here. It is a beautiful state. I will give you that. But I remember because I don't know if everybody knows this, I used to live in Knoxville, Tennessee before I met Tracy. Tracy moved to Knoxville with me for a little while, and she missed her family, so I said, well, let's move to Mississippi. I'll never forget it. June 1st of 2023, was my first day in Mississippi. I walked outside. I could feel how heavy the air was coming into my lungs. It was so humid and hot outside. And I looked at Tracy and I said, you know, I didn't mind moving, but did we have to move on to the hottest place on the planet? All right, last news story, guys. The Patriot Oasis says just in, the Trump administration will now audit all 50 states for fraud in autism treatment programs. These programs have been seen as gold rush for fraudsters. Led by Dr. Mehmet Oz at CMS, all states must submit detailed strategies to revalidate high-risk providers and prevent fraud with federal funding threats for non-compliance. HHS has also sent formal warning letters to governors and treasurers through the new ARROW initiative. Democrat-led states like California and Minnesota are facing particular scrutiny and delayed reimbursements.
Administration now will audit all 50 American states looking for potentially massive fraud in the billing of autism treatment. This is happening now amid a recent explosion in spending on autism services. North Carolina alone apparently saw an 11,000% increase in the last 4 years. Why was that? Good question for Alexandria Hoff, live in D.C. Alex, hello. Good morning.
Hey, Bill, yeah, it is a good question because according to that data coming out of North Carolina, the use of taxpayer-funded autism services is significantly outpacing the number of children being diagnosed. So something's not right there, and it's not just in the Tar Heel State. A recent analysis by the Cato Institute found that in 5 years, Medicaid billing has surged in every other state that makes their data public for money spent on ABA therapy. It's applied behavior analysis, that's what it's called. For reference, Minnesota's ABA spending increased by about 51,000% since 2018. We all know what happened there. President Trump spoke on that yesterday.
You saw that with millions of dollars just being stolen. Everybody had autism. Everybody had autism. They said. It was incredible, actually. And I've just seen I see what they're doing. You haven't seen anything yet.
You know, it's not necessarily malice everywhere. That hasn't been proven yet. ABA therapy is considered a critical resource for children diagnosed with autism, but given its complicated billing structure, incentive to overbill, an influx of private equity-backed providers into that space, it's really being looked at like a gold rush. Audits so far by HHS's Office of Inspector General has uncovered $198 million in improper payments made in just 4 states, $410 million incorrectly billed. And examining this really depends on each state's ability to organize and analyze its own spending. That's why HHS is now deploying AI tools to double check that oversight and try to root out any possible fraud, Bill.
Okay.
So we create the problem through vaccines and making people autistic, and then we want to do all these studies and everything, and all we do is just funnel this money back into the pockets of all these crooks, and nobody gets cured. The families still suffer, and these kids still suffer every day. We're finally starting to root out all this evil, guys. And it's because of this man right here. So support your president. Even through this whole Iran war and all these high gas prices, he's still fighting for us every day. He's still trying to do what is right. And sometimes the right thing is the painful thing at first. But like he says, the best is yet to come. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. I want everybody to enjoy their weekend. And we have a slew of shows for you today. So coming up in about less than an hour, you've got Real AF Patriot coming in with Keeping It Real with your current news that's going on right now. So make sure you're checking him out. We are going to raid to him on Rumble. So make sure you check that out. Now, also starting at 6 p.m., you've got the People's Ledger with our own Julie Donuts and Casey Coyle. They've got a fire show coming for you tonight. And then following that at 8 p.m., you've got the the receipt room, Signal Over Noise. And they're going to bring you a fire show tonight too. So guys, everybody have a great weekend. Everybody keep their head on a swivel because you don't know what can ever happen. Stay in prayer and read your Bible or listen to your Bible, whatever you want to do. WV57 says, got to go grab a nap today. She's talking about all the shows that's coming on. She's got to go grab that nap so she can watch all of them tonight. RPR17, God bless you too. Thank you for coming into the chat. Thank you everybody for coming into the chat. You guys, you get quiet there for a little bit, but I remember I'm like, they're probably watching the news and they're probably dialed into this stuff. So, Wall for him, blessings, all. Thank you so much. And Burn Notice says, love you all. So, guys, yeah, I think that's all I've got. So let's just end it in prayer, and then I'll get you rated over to the Real AF Patriot. Give him a thumbs up for me real quick, and join him back at noon. He usually starts playing music around 11:45 Eastern. So thank you again, and thank you for all of my mod team out there and Truther Media team for keeping my chats clean and welcoming everybody in. So thank you so much, guys. Lord, I come to you in Jesus' name. Lord, hallowed be thy name. I want to thank you for everything that you have provided for us. Even when our situations look bleak sometimes, I know in my experience that you always come through. And I know that in everybody else's experience, you always come through. Just it may not be at the right time that we want it to come through. But you always come through and you always have a plan for us, Lord. So thank you so much for watching over all of us. And for those that need the prayers today, that have sick family or loved ones or have lost family members, we ask you that you remove the scales from their eyes and help them, Lord. And help them with their daily needs that they have. And Lord, thank you for giving us this armor of God to put on that we can fight against all this evilness every day. We put it on daily for you to fight your battle, Lord. The one true mission is to lead souls to you, Lord, through Jesus Christ. And we thank you so much for everything that you've done for us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to remember a couple of things. Let's go make fishers of men. Let's go save some souls. And let's go save the Republic. Thank you, guys. I will see you Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern right here on Dawning Justice. And make sure to check out our sponsors, justiceshrooms.com, justicepetclub.com. Thank you, guys. See you next time.
You thought you could bury me. Thought the dark would close in. You were wrong. You don't know who I am, and you never will. You drew the line in the dirt and flame. They said I'd break, said I'd shame. Whispered threats through a locked back door, but I've heard You don't know who I am. I don't stand alone. God holds my sword of truth.